My top boss, when it comes to solar power, inverters, batteries and AC connectivity, it is important for you to know that before you disconnect the inverter, there is a specific procedure that you need to carry. In today's video, we are discussing exactly the process of disconnecting the inverter for one or two reasons and also reconnecting it back. Where do you start? Do you start disconnecting the battery? That's wrong. Or do you start disconnecting the national grid or the AC that is coming in to feed the inverter and followed by solar power? Or how do you do it? We are going to know about the procedure. Also, when you are reconnecting it back, do you start with the solar panels? Will the voltages, high voltages coming from the panels damage the inverter before you connect it to the battery? That is what we are going to know. And if you are ready for this video, my top boss, smash that like button. And if you are not subscribed to our channel, Top Electrician, subscribe so that you don't miss any of the episodes that are coming up. The first step when disconnecting the inverter is to switch off the AC supply, followed by the solar panels. These carry a lot of voltages that can damage an inverter in the event that it is actually not powered with the battery itself. And then after all those high power charging systems are disconnected, we then go ahead and disconnect the battery. So top bosses, let's go ahead and do that. Since the solar panel is not able to supply sufficient power to the battery, that is why we are receiving that error. The next move is to disconnect the solar panel before we can disconnect the battery. The first process is definitely to switch off the solar panel before we can disconnect it for safety purposes. So Margaret is going to assist us with that. So when connecting the cables, we always ensure that proper cable management is done. So we have to remove the trunking. By removing the trunking, we'll get to the cables, and then we remove the cover, the metallic cover on the inverter. Not every person is qualified to do this work. If you short circuit that part, especially when the battery is still connected or the national grid or the panel, you will damage the inverter. While disconnecting the DC cables, we also have to be very keen to ensure that we do a better job. The same is done with the negative or the black DC cable. So that is a DC cable. There's a difference between a DC and a PV cable. So that is the battery cable. Having done that, now we can disconnect the AC cables, and when reconnecting, we can also start with connecting the AC cable. So that one is very simple. We shall not repeat that. My top boss, after disconnecting everything from the inverter, that is the AC incoming, the AC outgoing, meaning the loads, and even after connecting the battery as well as the panels, the inverter is not connected anywhere. Now we can remove the inverter, assuming that we want to do maintenance work, blow it, or probably do some cleaning works on it. Now, upon connecting it back, there is also a procedure. If you start with the PV, it means that the high voltage from the PV might damage the inverter. The high voltage from the panels might damage the inverter as well, because that one will be floating voltages. It needs to be directed somewhere, which is the battery. The only method that we need to do here is to ensure that we start with the battery. And also another reason why we need to do that is because this inverter has a voltage, specific voltage it is supposed to operate on, which is 12 volts. A 1 kilowatt inverter is connected to a 12 volt battery or a 12 volt system, and the 3 kilowatt inverter is connected to a 24 voltage system. A 6 kilowatt is connected to 48 voltage system, and this is what we refer to as high voltages. For this one, we want to connect the battery first upon reconnecting it back so that the inverter stabilizes to 12 volts. That is exactly what we are going to do. And my top boss Margaret is reminding me that we need to share some other important features about inverter that you, as I know you, may not have a clue. The first one is that we have the connectivity for Wi-Fi, so that the inverter can be monitored remotely through an app on the phone. If the inverter is connected to the Wi-Fi from this port right here, it means that if the phone is also connected to the Wi-Fi or has some network, you are able to see whatever is happening at the inverter. For these other two connections, my top boss, we can configure the inverter using a computer, probably a laptop, and so on and so forth. This ensures that we program the inverter for future use according to the customer usage or needs. Now let's go ahead and reconnect the inverter, starting with connecting the battery. When connecting the system, like we said, you start with the batteries, ensuring that you don't interchange the polarity. What we have actually done is to first start connecting the cables at the inverter, so that in case you slide and the cables come in contact, the battery is not short-circuited. The thing that we need to do is to ensure that we tighten the cable, ensuring that it is not loose. Any loose connections at the battery or for DC systems is dangerous. The same way it is dangerous for AC systems. Thank you so much, my top boss, for watching our today's episode.
Like and subscribe for future videos.
Goodbye for now.